Good morning, grade 8 students. Welcome to our English class. Today, we are back for another grammar lesson. Before we start our discussion for today, here are the objectives that you should remember. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to define modifiers, determine the misplaced and dangling modifiers, correct dangling and misplaced modifiers. So can I expect this from you? Okay, good. Today, we are going to discuss about modifiers. So what are your ideas about modifiers? What is the role of modifier in grammatical construction? Now, let us define modifier. A modifier is a word, phrase, or clause which functions as an adjective or an adverb to describe a word or make its meaning more specific. A working definition for the word modify is to change or to alter something. A modifier changes, clarifies, qualifies, or limits a particular word in a sentence in order to add emphasis, explanation, or detail. Modifiers tend to be descriptive words, such as adjectives and adverbs. So modifiers as adjectives. When a modifier is an adjective, it modifies a noun or a pronoun. So we have here an example. Lee caught a small mackerel. Here, the adjective is small and it modifies the noun mackerel. So modifiers as adverbs. When a modifier is an adverb, it modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. Lee accidentally caught a small whelk. Here, the adverb is accidentally and it modifies the verb caught. Lee caught an incredibly small mackerel. So what do you think is the adverb used in this sentence? So here, the adverb incredibly modifies the adjective small. So now, let us proceed to the two common mistakes in grammar. So the misplaced modifier and the dangling modifier. But let us first tackle about misplaced modifier. It is a word, phrase, or clause that is improperly or sometimes awkwardly separated from the word it modifies or describes. So an example is, she served sandwiches to the children on paper plates. So what have you noticed in this sentence? What is the misplaced modifier? This sentence makes it seem like the children were on the paper plates. How are we going to correct the sentence? Our goal is to modify the noun sandwiches, but it is improperly separated to the prepositional phrase which is on the paper plates. So to correct this, it should be, she served the children sandwiches on paper plates. Now, the sandwiches are on the paper plates and not the children. Another example, on his way home, John found a gold man's watch. First, let us take a closer look at the descriptive word which is gold. So what have you noticed? So this sentence suggests that a gold man owns a watch, which is impossible, right? So remember, misplaced modifiers can usually be corrected by moving the modifier to a more sensible place in the sentence, generally next to the word it modifies. The question is that, is the descriptive word gold modifies the man? Let us take a look at this sentence. On his way home, John found a man's gold watch. Now, it is the watch that is gold. Next, the child ate a cold dish of cereal for breakfast this morning. The adjective in this sentence is the word cold. So, do you think the cold is modifying the noun dish, which is a container of food, or the cereal? So, the best thing to do is to correct the error by placing the adjective next to the noun it modifies. So, the correct sentence will be, the child ate a dish of cold cereal for breakfast this morning. Now, it is the cereal that is cold and not the dish. Aside from that, did you know that placement of adverbs can also change the meaning in sentences? We ate the lunch that we had brought slowly. In this sentence, can you determine the misplaced modifier? What is the adverb used? So the adverb in this sentence is the word slowly. In this sentence, it seems like it modifies the verb brought. So do you think they brought the food at a slow speed? The meaning of this sentence is quite imprecise. To repair the meaning, move the adverb slowly near the verb ate. So the sentence will become, we slowly ate the lunch that we had brought. So slowly modifies the verb ate. For example, just John was picked to host the program. So the adverb in this sentence is the word just. And just means only John was picked, no one else. In 10 seconds, I would like you to fix the error in this sentence. The three bankers talk quietly in the corner smoking pipes. So is it the corner the one smoking pipes? So how are we going to correct the sentence? Go. Let us see if your answer is correct. The three bankers smoking pipes talk quietly in the corner, so the doer of the action are the bankers and not the corner. We have here another example of misplaced praise. The dealer sold the Cadillac to the buyer with leather seats. So let's take a look at the prepositional phrase with leather seats. So is it modifying the noun buyer? To clarify the meaning of this sentence, let us put the prepositional phrase next to the noun it's supposed to modify. So, it will become, the dealer sold the Cadillac with leather seats to the buyer. So, it is the Cadillac with leather seats and not the buyer. Another sentence, the waiter served a dinner roll to the woman that was well buttered. So, do you think it is the woman that was well buttered? So in this sentence, well-buttered modifies the woman. So how are we going to correct the sentence? So the sentence will become, the waiter served a dinner roll that was well-buttered to the woman. So well-buttered modifies the noun dinner roll and not the woman. So aside from misplaced modifier, we also have dangling modifier. It is a phrase or clause that is not clearly and logically related to the word or word it modifies. So when a sentence begins with a phrase that is not directly connected to the subject that it refers to, that phrase is said to be dangling. We have here an example. Driving past the Bread Box Café, the sun peeked through the clouds. Wait, who's the doer of the action? This sentence implies that the sun was the doer of the action, that the sun was driving past the Bread Box Cafe. How are we going to correct the sentence? So first, we should name an appropriate doer of the action or subject of the main clause. So for example, driving past the Bread Box Cafe, Suzanne saw the sun peek through the clouds. So the doer of the action is Suzanne. You should remember that in dangling modifier, it is very important to determine if who is the doer of the action. Another example, having finished the movie, the TV was turned off. So who turned off the TV? So having finished states the action but does not name the doer of that action. So in sentence construction, the doer must be the subject of the main clause that follows. So since the doer of the action has not been clearly stated, the participial phrase is said to be a dangling modifier. So the possible sentence will be, having finished the movie, Joe turned off the TV. So Joe is now the doer of the action. Without knowing his name, it was difficult to introduce him. So who didn't know his name? The sentence says that it didn't know his name. So to revise the sentence, decide who was trying to introduce him. So a possible sentence will be, because Annie did not know his name, it was difficult to introduce him. So the phrase is now a complete introductory clause because there's a subject which is Annie. So let us try to fix the dangling modifier in this sentence. Looking toward the west, a funnel-shaped cloud stirred up the dust. So do you think the cloud is the one looking toward the west? In this sentence, who is the possible subject or doer of the action? A possible sentence will be, looking toward the west, I saw a funnel-shaped cloud stir up the dust. Means that I is the doer of the action which is looking toward the west. So we have here another example. When 9 years old, my mother enrolled in medical school. So do you think the mother enrolled in medical school when she was 9 years old? So in 10 seconds, I would like you to fix the dangling modifier by adding an appropriate subject. So the corrected sentence will be, when I was 9 years old, my mother enrolled in medical school. So this sentence sounds possible, right? Another. Walking to the movies, the cloudburst drenched Jim. So who was walking to the movies? Is it the cloudburst or is it Jim? So the corrected sentence will be, walking to the movies, Jim was drenched by the cloudburst. To sum up our lesson for today, a misplaced modifier is a word or phrase that is improperly separated from the word it modifies, while dangling modifier is a phrase or clause that is not clearly and logically related to the word or words it modifies. Thus, misplaced and dangling modifiers should be corrected in order to avoid miscommunication. So for your activities regarding modifiers, please refer to the learning guide. Thank you for listening and have a great day.